So, you know, we flew on a plane in Mexico from Mexico City to Matamoros and didn't even show any government forms or any forms for our children. The guy ended up just waving us through. And then when we got to the border, that was the only time we had like an issue coming back into the US. And I never even, you know, paid for a visa or any of that kind of thing. I just took a taxi into Mexico and they just waved us in and, you know, spent a month there and it was awesome. And I'm actually planning on coming this year as well.
Welcome everybody. This is another in the series of the Anarchapulco 24/7, 365 community interviews. And today our special guest is Alma Sommer. And today, Alma, why don't we just start off with you introducing yourself and we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, I am a longtime liberty activist. I am the creator of Agorist Marketplace and Jackalope Festival, as well as Unschooling Arizona. And you can find all of these groups on Facebook and pages as well. Lots of people are involved already with the alternative culture movement, I guess you could say. So yeah, that's basically where I started off.
Just those few things are all you're involved in these
yeah, really.
I mean,
the list goes on. I mean, most activists have multiple projects to talk about always. So, you know, I think a lot of us, we're really interested in lots of different things and we like to network. So, and connect to other people just naturally. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, let me start off by asking you about Jackalope. How did that all get started? I've heard many good things, and I know it's you know, in the heart of a lot of people in regard to kind of the concept. But where did that all begin?
In 2011 and in 2012, I went to Porcfest, and I knew the first year I went that Arizona needed to have a festival that was similar, except for nobody should be in charge. And so I collaborated with Ernie Hancock and took him out to my most favorite camping spot, showed him that, and then we continued driving a little bit further and we found Baca Meadows, which is a old family property. It's like 10 miles into the forest from Forest Lakes, Arizona, or 7 miles, and then 10 miles into the forest from Heber Overgard. So you can reach it from both little towns. And the family that lived there a long time ago, they used to take in people and house them and feed them that were traveling on that road. I don't know if the main Highway 260 was there yet, or if it was just a dirt road like the one going back there, but that's basically what the family did. And we found that out. There was a little sign there and we did more research, and I actually have the original patent for the property. And I actually have the warranty deed that currently exists, because we weren't really sure like if anyone even owned the property. When I did property research, it came up when you clicked on the parcel, it would say no parcel information. And I had never seen that before. I designed cell towers for 7 years before I quit my slave job. And so I've done a lot of property research, and I had never seen that. And so it really intrigued a lot of us. And then we just found out more information. And Doug from Phoenix Crypto, he also worked at a title company. And so he does a lot of property research, and he pulled all this stuff forward. And I have the original patent that the survey that they did, and they use Polaris, and they use all these instruments that are not GPS. It's really cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And so the gist of the Jackalope is that people just come out, just show up, kind of set up and do their own thing. Is there any particular organization, or how do you?
I mean, I've gotten it sponsored 1 year by Dash. I did a proposal and Dash sponsored it, and there were things in the proposal that they received in exchange for that. I might do a proposal again in the future. The last couple of years, Doug has sort of sponsored the porta potties and the stage and things like that for Phoenix Crypto. And, you know, there's lots of local activists that come as well as people from Texas that come every year. and this year Oklahoma, and just all over the place. So yeah, I mean, the property just, I don't know, I guess it wanted us to be there. And I was handing out flyers one year at a march against Monsanto. Someone called the government on us and
Oh,
said, do you
Lord.
know about this festival? And it says it's an event. There's a website, looks like there's vendors. And so they left me an email through the website, and they wanted to know who was in charge, and they wanted us to get a special use permit because if you have 70 people or more, they require you to get a special use permit and fill out like 14 pages of information for sanitation and all this stuff. And I told Ernie about it, and he called the woman. He's like, I'll take care of this. And he called her, and basically he was like, you know, it's just a camping party. A bunch of people hang out, and you're not going to get anything from them. And so then that following year, the Forest Service showed up and came back there like full battle rattle. And they were like, you know, all my Agorist Marketplace signs were up, and there were other people camping and whatever. And they were like, well, we just want to make sure nobody's driving ATVs in the meadow. And if people come with guns, that they're gun safe. And then he goes, and if more people come, they can camp over here, they can camp over here. And I'm like, okay, thanks. Like, it's like miles and miles and miles. Like, there could be 10,000 people there, and none of them would need permission.
Yeah.
No
Well,
permits, nothing.
That's definitely the way to keep it.
Yeah, and there's lots of other camping areas back in there. So even if you didn't want to camp in Baca Meadows, you could bring your whole crew from New Hampshire, the whole Free State Project, whoever's involved could come and set up in a completely different area or scatter all over Baca Meadows. It's really big, and it's just unlimited possibilities. And I always kind of made it my goal to get the stage there, which has been, we have a stage that we use from Ernie, and then we've also used a trailer. And this year Doug brought up the stage on a big trailer, and I go, hey, you probably could have just brought the trailer. And it was kind of funny, but you know, we do what we can. And sometimes people talk, sometimes people just feel like chilling. And this year it went for like a month.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Definitely the epitome of anarchy.
Yeah, it is the only voluntary society that I've ever existed in.
Nice. So one of the things that I guess the main focus of this interview, or what caught my attention, was a post that you did earlier today, and it was effectively something along the lines of quit your slave job and do something better. So what have you got in mind in regard to that post?
Well, I'm going to be revamping Agorist Marketplace. I don't even really like that word now that I think about it. But anyway, I'm going to be getting new hosting and redoing the whole website. So before, the website just offered a place for people to list their businesses for free. But I'd really like to have it be a Agorist job placement place. So I'm not exactly sure how all of those details will come together. But I do work with a lot of people in the community very closely still. And I think that through collaborating with some of these people, we can see something really awesome come to fruition. So I'm excited. I basically just let all my old website stuff go because I had built it on an alternative website and had subdomains and then had masked stuff. And that's not the way I want it built. So I just decided to let it go, and I'm going to be starting from scratch. And Jackalope is currently hosted by a friend of mine. So that website is still up and will be. So as far as I know anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, Agorist Marketplace, I just want to connect people with Agorist jobs. I currently separated from Brian, so I've been highly inspired to create my own businesses. One of them is gardening. I just created an ad on Facebook, and I already got my first client and scheduled for next week. So I'm really excited about that. I'm just doing like really small gardens, and I want to work with the people. I mean, I'll do it for them, but that's not really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people who want to work with me and grow food and organically. and, you know, just to the best of their ability. Well, I'm in Mesa, Arizona currently, and I'm actually back in the Winnebago, which was our first home that we traveled in to do all of our crypto tours in the United States. And I just bought it back for 5 silver dimes and $20 in Bitcoin.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm
You're a
refitting.
wheeler and a dealer too.
Wheeler and a dealer. And I think the Winnebago just wanted me back. They wanted me to finish working on it. So I'm going to finish working on it and basically do a refit. And also starting an Agorist land acquisition. So I've been doing a bunch of property research, which isn't my most favorite thing to do because I'm on the government websites and I'm like, oh, they got me. But anyway, I'm going to be buying some land from the county. The land they basically stole through back taxes, people that got behind on their taxes and they stole it. I'm also looking at doing some adverse possession properties of my own so I can get them before the county gets them. But that requires a little bit more research. And so I am looking for probably like 4 or 5 investors. I already have one. And the properties I had come across, the first 2 weren't really accessible. So now I have 6 more. And I'm going to go check those out next week. They're up in Holbrook, Arizona, off of the I-40, which is Route 66. So it's real popular, you know, traveling path that people take. And I know that there are a bunch of other anarchists and agorists that want to open like a speakeasy out there and possibly, you know, have like an underground thing going on. So I'm kind of excited about that. Plus, I don't want to be in the heat during the summers. So I'm nomadic and I want to go back up north.
Nice. Sounds pretty exciting. So a little bit more about the kind of the job seekers and stuff like that. So this is something for agorists around the United States, around the world. Are you trying to just focus on the local area or what?
Yeah, I mean, anybody can do what I'm doing. It just requires time and research on the government websites because they already own so much of the land and they sell it fairly cheaply. So what I'm going to be doing is purchasing it and then reselling it on Facebook or Craigslist. Just depends on what I end up doing. And then I'm going to be making a living mostly by doing that. The gardening will probably be happening as much as I can schedule it, but I do believe that the real money making for myself and my family will be through the Agorist land acquisition. That's just what I'm calling it. And I have a proposal if anybody wants to look at it, if anyone's interested in being an investor, because they're going to profit from this.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's you know, I love that opportunity. I love the entrepreneurial kind of opportunities flowing out of your mind and just constantly you know, doing stuff that's you know, creating opportunities for yourself and other people.
Yeah, well, because of my situation, I've currently reached a whole new level of freedom. So with that, I'm super empowered and excited to, you know, see what manifests out of it. And it would be really awesome if I can offer other people work by doing this, by making a living for myself and needing help with things. I think you know, maybe I'll be hiring people in this next year.
Yeah, well, certainly if you can do it successfully and you know you develop that reputation, and certainly if you can do it once, then you can do it many times.
Yeah.
And that's really you know, a key. And you know, it's unfortunate that many people kind of sit on their hands until someone kind of shows them the way. And so by effectively leading the way, demonstrating that it can be done, can really kind of, you know, start a movement, you know. And it's unfortunate that so many people just don't, you know, take that first step. And you know, essentially, I think that's what you're demonstrating. And so that's awesome, you know.
So sometimes in relationships too, if you have kids, you know, you want to do things together. With the lifestyle that Brian and I were living, you know, we both were full-time parents. And so we were with our kids a lot. And there were times I had a job and I worked from home. And then there were times where he would, you know, go out and get work. But yeah, there's like a whole new fire lit under my ass right now. So this is it's a exciting times.
Yeah, that's good. I think that this kind of is good too, because I think if you look at the world as it is, everything seems to be crashing down. As far as the old system is concerned, and really, this is the opportune time to really be demonstrating that there is another way to go. That if we kind of are the example for people to see that you can really take charge of your own life, and using your own mind and creativity can really kind of create your own existence. And certainly if you uh, see the opportunity, you can really let that slave job go, as you refer to it as, and
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
live a much better life. I live in Acapulco, and it's a quality of life that I never even really knew was possible. Uh, you know, for the kind of money that So like if I was living in the United States, or I would essentially be living on what maybe a manager or assistant manager of like McDonald's is living on, or something like that, which is probably like living in like a 1-bedroom apartment or something in the
No,
backside of the.
I just spent $14 on Mexican food. Like, I get it. Okay, I should not be paying that much ever.
Yeah, yeah, I could probably live a week on that kind of money
I
down here.
know. I was like, $14. Well, there's a lot of taquitos in here. All right. And I was okay with it, whatever. But yeah, still, I get it. I totally do. When I lived in South Padre, I was, tamales were $7 a dozen because the
Yeah,
people in South Padre are stuck there. There's border checkpoints all over the place, and they don't even feel comfortable trying to leave South Padre to go north or to
yeah,
even get out of that area. And so these people feel totally trapped there. And it's one of the worst places I've ever visited because of the dichotomy. People are just so depressed with their lives. They have like lost hope and don't care. And I was so happy to get out of that place. I really wanted to make it to Mexico. I knew it was so much better just across the border, but we,
yeah,
I had ended my job, and Brian wasn't getting like consistent work, and we ended up coming back to Arizona. And it was the best decision like for us and our family that we could have made. So yeah,
yeah,
this is
yeah,
for the last 4 years, we've been traveling around building a decentralized community. We've lived in Texas and Arizona, and, we've traveled to Mexico with 2 undocumented humans and back. So, we flew on a plane in Mexico from Mexico City to Matamoros and didn't even show any government forms or any forms for our children. The guy
yeah,
ended up just waving us through. And then when we got to the
yeah,
border, that was the only time we had like an issue coming back into the US. And I never even, paid for a visa or any of that kind of thing. I just took a taxi into Mexico, and they just waved
yeah,
us in, and, spent a month there, and it was awesome. And I'm
yeah,
actually planning on coming this year as well.
yeah.
I got a ride. My friend booked a hotel room. She said I could stay with her, and then all I had to do was figure out what I was going to do for my ticket. And so I offered to volunteer. And in exchange, I get a ticket. So I believe I'll be a speaker escort of some kind
Okay.
at
Yeah, well,
Anarchapulco.
last year I was like the volunteer coordinator. I'm not exactly sure if that's the role they have in mind for me this year, but that's what I'm hoping to do. So if that's the case, then we'll probably be working together at some point.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm excited to volunteer and just offer some kind of value of mine and have the experience. I just want to come for the experience, and I think I'll be kid free as well. So that'll be kind of fun.
Yeah, I think last year's volunteers, I pretty much still I'm connected with most of them, all the time. They're great people. We have such a great time. We try to do something special every day for the volunteers, and we got them like kind of like a VIP presentation with one of the speakers each day, and kind of like a little pep session, motivation session kind of thing.
That's cool.
And so
I just thought there
we
was
really had a
coffee
good
and
time.
snacks. I was down for those perks.
Well, I mean, it's certainly a job in a lot of ways, because you do have to kind of try and help people, get where they're supposed to be going. But it's certainly getting more organized in regard to where people are supposed to be and stuff like that. But it's still an opportunity to kind of just put on a friendly face and get people to kind of feel the environment, to relax and enjoy the whole situation. And then also, getting to meet the speakers and stuff like that, and kind of find out what's going on behind the scenes. It's good in a lot of different ways. But, you talked a little bit about kind of living on your own. You got a chance to live on a sailboat for a while. And sailing has always been kind of something that has got a warm place in my heart. So tell us a little bit about that experience. And that wasn't something that you had done really before that, so you kind of got
No, I had not done that before. We had a mutual dream, and it worked out. Ended up finding out about the sailboat. This girl on Facebook, she posted a picture of an ad on her bulletin board at her marina, and that's how I found out about the sailboat. So the guy never even listed it on Facebook or Craigslist or anything, and we went and met with him, and he wanted $5,000 for it. And at that time, we were still like, we didn't have the money saved up, but we were looking, and we had the RV, so we were gonna sell it or whatever. We had my Jeep and a trailer too at the time, and yeah, I mean, I went sailing in 2011 and 2012, same years I went to Porcfest. I went to the Virgin Islands for 10 days each time, and it literally like changed my life. I learned how to dive prior to going, and then I finished my diving lessons in the Virgin Islands, so I did my dives there.
Wow.
And that was just, it's just life-changing. It's so awesome to swim underneath with like puffer fish. Their heads are like this big, and they're just like looking at you like 70 feet underwater, like, what are you doing down here? And it's like hanging out with you. So it's just, I really love diving and love the ocean. Have always loved the ocean and boats and things like that. And I went sailing for the first time out there. And yeah, so Brian and I, we both just wanted to like live on a sailboat. And I joined a group called Champagne Boating on a Beer Budget and met the creator of that group. He also wrote a book with the same name. His name is Jim. He took us out sailing once we got our boat. I ended up borrowing the money from my grandpa. He's 102, by the way. So I think we live to be 900. Might as well throw that out there for the listeners. And he's laying the groundwork for all 900-year-olds. And then we ended up selling the Winnebago. And so we were able to, at that time, we had sold it for Bitcoin. And then Bitcoin went on its crazy roller coaster up. And so we bought all of this stuff for the sailboat. We bought a generator and navigation equipment, and just took her out, and we stayed in the Houston area for a while. We were in a marina in Clear Lake, and then we traveled to South Padre. We did the whole going to Acapulco. Then we went back to Baytown, and we lived at Baytown, which is just outside of Houston area, for a few months. And then we ended up traveling back down to South Padre. So that's where the sailboat ended up getting sold in Mansfield. But yeah, I mean, living on the sailboat is awesome. It rocks you to sleep. If you have restless leg syndrome, that's not a real thing, but like if you do, you won't ever have to worry about that again. The sailboat keeps you moving all the time. It's crazy to be in the storms in your boat, and everybody's boat is just tipping like sideways, and pulling on the ropes, and just going out sailing is just so awesome. And being on the water and turning off the engine, and just the wind is taking you, it's free. You're not using gas. that was one of my favorite things about it, is not drilling for earth blood, you know.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
yeah, I would live on a sailboat again in the future, a bigger sailboat, maybe even a yacht.
Hmm.
Oh, and if anybody,
how big was the sailboat you had?
32 feet, so
Okay.
pretty small. I
Yeah.
would like a 40, 50-foot sailboat, maybe even 70-foot, with a big crew, maybe a big crew even. I would love to sail with other people. I like cohabitating, so I'm really looking forward to cohabitating in the future. I've done it a bunch. I'm currently doing it sort of here. Parked in a backyard. There's another family that lives here, and I do a work trade. So I
Awesome.
actually work in their yard in exchange to stay here. So I have a super low overhead, and I'm able to spend the time I need with my kids to unschool them, and I'm able to spend the time I need to start my own businesses. So I'm pretty excited about all of that. And yeah, I was going to say, if anybody does want to do any boating adventures in Acapulco while they're there, I do have a contact that I can give them on Facebook. So her uncle works down at the marina in Acapulco.
Okay.
I think
Great.
it's in between Acapulco and then where the hotel is.
Okay.
So yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. I might even go out. I think it'd be fun to go out on a boat while I'm there.
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of the things that, I know we're kind of trying to put something together where we're gonna create a kind of an event around in Acapulco. There's it's going to be 10 days this year, and so there's 2 weekends on each side of that. That I've always been one to try and encourage people to come down and spend a little more time. And so we're going to try and create some events before and after that that people can get involved in, and then in kind of trying to get that situation in which the speakers and maybe some of the more prominent people to come down is to kind of encourage them to do stuff where maybe people would go on a fishing trip or go on a sailboating trip, and and basically like fund that, plus maybe kick in for for people's expenses and stuff like that. So kind of create some fun stuff to do that also gets people out and about in Acapulco and see some of the sights and some of the stuff that go on around here. Because it's unfortunate that in the past, I think, because it's such a short time frame, and they're doing all the activities at one hotel. A lot of people don't really get to see what Acapulco is about, and what I really love about Acapulco is, is the people, is the places. I mean, this town is one of the most unique places on the face of the earth, if you ask me. And I really want to get more people to take the time to check it out. But you've got an idea in regard to an event while you're down here as well that is a no-cost event, but something that you'd like to do.
Yeah,
Let's talk a
I
little bit about that.
I would like to just have a mini Jack Fest event where, maybe at night, so it's not conflicting with any of the daytime stuff, and just have a little Jackalope Party. Maybe some people speak, or we do like a soapbox idol or something like that, or maybe people just get up on their soapbox and spout whatever it is they're feeling, or something. I know I have a few friends that are going to be there that would be interested in participating. So nothing big, but I would still advertise it like it was
Yeah.
big.
Yeah, well, that's certainly one of the things that I want to encourage too, is to try and do some stuff that's that's a little bit more unique, and then it encompasses all of the anarchist kind of influences and stuff like that. And certainly Jackalope is one of those unique experiences that we could give people a little bit of a taste of
Yeah.
while they're here in Acapulco, and then then maybe they want to go and spend some time in Arizona.
Oh, they want to go to Jackalope. Jackalope is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And so, but if like somebody from Germany comes to Acapulco and has never heard of Jackalope or never even
Yeah,
been to the States or something like that, but gets a chance to hear that story about why this place is so awesome,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's the
I
opportunities that I want to try and
yeah,
encourage.
I will absolutely be making a flyer before coming, and I'll be handing that out for sure, so I can get the word out as much as possible. But if I had a venue of some kind, even a house or something like that, somebody's rental Airbnb or whoever wants to volunteer a space.
I think I've got a couple in mind that
Okay.
I think would probably serve your purpose. And I think Bonfil is kind of an area that a lot of people kind of gravitate towards. And so there's usually somebody out there got some kind of a compound of some sort, or you've always got the beach too.
Right.
There's tons of activities and stuff that go on the beach. And
Are there any beaches where you can camp?
I'm sure there are, but I don't know one specifically right off the top of my head.
Because I know the hotels
Out.
are basically all over the place. And so I'm curious if there is any place people can camp on the beach. I don't know if
Yeah,
you
I
even need
know.
to ask permission or if you can just, how free it is already. It might just be pretty free for people just to go and camp on the beach.
Yeah, I know there used to be a place that it was kind of in between, the Diamante area and Bonfil, where it just used to be like open beach, and there used to be a lot of people that would be out there and vendors that would be out there and stuff like that. But since then, they put up kind of a wall, and so you can't even see the beach from the road that goes by there. But a little bit further down, I think there's probably some opportunities to do something like that. Or there's
Yeah,
the other side is the lagoon side, and that's a lot more less kind of policed and so forth. It's fresh water, and so it's a little bit different experience. A lot of people go water skiing in that area, and
we'll have to do some
I don't know.
Google
We'll have to
Maps collaboration afterwards, or not
absolutely.
not Google Maps, but whatever, some map.
Absolutely. Some kind of collaboration of some sort. So let's see, we talked about sailing, we talked about your slave job, different things. I don't know. Is there anything else you wanted to hit on or talk about?
I think we pretty much covered everything that I
Okay.
had on my list as well. So yeah, it was
All
nice
right.
talking to you though. This has been like a long uh a long needed conversation. I think I feel like we've known each other and then haven't had any kind of like serious conversation in a long like ever.
Well, I
So
mean, let's see. When you came down for Anarchapulco, did you come over to the house for the party?
no, but
Maybe.
Michael Fielding told me about you a long time ago
Oh,
and that
okay.
you were into sailing.
Yeah.
And so that was just the first time I had heard who you were. And yeah, it's just there's always stuff going on. And especially when I came there, I did have like our kids were even younger. It was 2 years ago is when the big earthquake happened. I don't know if you guys are still having big earthquakes, but that was crazy.
Yeah, that has got to be the biggest earthquake I've experienced here. I mean, Acapulco has an occasional earthquake, but relatively it is one. It's a place in which they have. It's not a place that you're going to have like a major earthquake because they always have these like little bitty minor earthquakes kind of regularly, and so it's like a low threat area. So that earthquake that we had during Anarchapulco that year was was pretty shocking. I was actually in the parking lot of Walmart that when that happened, and people were running out of Walmart, which is really unusual because usually people just don't even notice, and so that was pretty unique.
I was at the hotel bar and people were running out, and I'm like watching the bar overhang the water, like, you know, and the water's just swishing, and I'm like watching the whole ground go over the water like they're going opposite, and I'm like, what the heck, this is crazy. Yeah, that was probably the biggest earthquake I've ever felt.
Yeah, yeah, that was definitely unique. You know, like I said, I mean, pretty much that's one of the other things that is really unique about Acapulco is pretty much everything that happens, people are chill. You know, I mean, and so you know,
I don't
having
know,
this
there were people
situation,
running, and I was like, should
yeah,
I be
well,
running?
that's that was a pretty shocking event. That you know,
Next time, if
rarely
I
see.
feel that, I will run, because it could come down on you. You don't know. Like, those
Yeah,
people were running for a reason. They probably experienced other earthquakes that maybe more stuff fell on their head, or they were scary, you know, like their experience told them run. And I was like, what's happening? A lot of other people didn't move either, but yeah, next time I'm running.
yeah. Well, I mean, you know, there is kind of an influx from people like Mexico City and stuff. And Mexico City, when an earthquake happens in Mexico City, you do run because, you know, buildings can fall down and stuff over there because, you know, the ground, the foundation of the ground is like jello there. And so it's a whole different situation. But you know, I don't think you really have too much to worry about as far as the earthquake in Acapulco. But that was a kind of a unique experience. But although it was definitely a real great time to connect, and certainly if you come down this year, you know, I throw the unofficial Anarchapulco party, which has been something that's really been a unique experience, and you know, usually pretty much all the people, like Ernie, for example, has been down here on a couple of occasions.
Ernie's coming. I'm not coming. No, just kidding.
Okay. But
the
I
dad,
definitely,
the dad I never wanted. No, I'm just kidding. I love
I,
Ernie.
it's been an opportunity for me to really get to meet all these faces and stuff like that from the larger community, and you know, for me, it's been really a profound experience, and it's usually a really fun time because we kind of, you know, kind of encourage people to talk to each other, and you know, I go around and try and welcome everybody, and basically, you know, like this is mi casa, su casa, kind of the circumstance, you know, and so
Cool.
we
I'm
really try and make
excited.
everybody feel comfortable.
I think I'll be
So,
down there for like 2 weeks approximately this year.
okay.
So
Yeah, well, I encourage everybody to try and take at least 2 weeks, maybe a month or two if you can, because
yeah, I'd
it's
stay
worth the
longer if
time.
my kids were coming. I mean, it's
Sure.
possible. I don't know. It could happen, but I don't know.
All right, Alma. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. This was kind of scheduled on a short notice, and I appreciate you making the time. And we're certainly looking forward to seeing you in Acapulco.
Thank you. Thanks
So,
for having me.
yeah, my pleasure. And, so have a great day and a great weekend. And we'll
You
see you
too.
soon.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.